I would say, you know, there's love, but I also think that there's this hunger to see if somebody else made it, I can make it too. I'm just looking for the opportunity and the shot to show and prove. I want to be right there too. We still want to have that same level of acclaim. So there's just an innate hunger from any MC that you talk to in New York that's going to be like, yo, just give me the shot, give me my 3 minutes, and I'm going to show you what's what.
I kind of learned that I don't really want to be in a group. Like, you know, tried that a few times and it's cool. But I just like doing my own thing now, really. And like linking up with like Pro on this project and other artists I've worked on projects for. Really just doing my own thing. I like to collab with people and work with people, but maybe on smaller scale projects and not trying to be like a group. I'm happy to do a project with someone and then move on, you know, and just keep doing that.
What's going on, people? So today we're going to do this a little bit different. The guys are extremely busy, so we couldn't get them into the studio. There's limited times, people flying in and out of the country, doing what they're doing and basically showing how busy they are. So I figured I really needed to get this interview in because obviously me and Manage go way back, and he's just way back. And he's just finished an album, and we're going to be talking about this album and the artist that he's working with, who goes by the name of Prolific Wone. And yeah, they're both here today. They've been at a video shoot earlier, and we were limited for time, like I said, so we're going to do the interview via this video call. Prolific, do you want to give us a little bit of background on yourself, and then we'll talk about Manage in a minute?
Yeah, for sure. But thanks for having me. First off, you know, we don't have the same history, but I feel like I know you. Everybody who I come across has nothing but positive things to say about you. So big up to you. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to come out and to speak. Yeah, my name is Prolific Wone. I'm an artist, creator, MC. I have a lot of different creative endeavors that I'm into. But obviously on this record with Manage, I got my MC hat on. Full throttle, you know what I'm saying? I've been doing this for about, you know, my whole life, we'll call it that. At this point, not to age myself too much, but I'm one of the founders of End of the Week, End of the WEAK, which is the international hip hop movement. And that's how me and Manage linked up. You know, I started End of the Week back in the year 2000, and that was a platform for us to allow for other MCs to get on, to express their talent. And that helped us to create and foster a community. Through events like the Emcee Challenge, which is our international MCing competition. So I'm one of the original hosts of that. And previous to End of the Week, I was already an MC in the New York City underground and spitting in the 90s era all the way through till today, you know. And so I was fortunate enough to connect with Manage
like 20 years ago, man.
Yeah. And I think we started over a 12-hour freestyle session on some just crazy, like...
Hey, down the road from you, man, in New Cross, man. They came to the crib and we were spitting all night, you know?
Yeah, you know what's crazy, Managers? Like, me and you, obviously, we go way back. And I remember when we first met and I was recording a couple of demos for you and stuff, but we never did that. You know what I mean?
Nah, we were just professional, lad. Just wanted to learn the ropes from coming up your yard, you know?
Yeah, that was crazy. And, you know, the one thing I do remember is you going to sign on and me having to look after your pit bull.
That's right. R.I.P. Basher, you know?
Yeah, Basher. Oh, my God. But Prolific. So, you know, obviously, New York, right? And you mentioned the word underground. And the first thing that strikes me is that when we hear about artists in New York, we automatically assume it's New York, everyone's doing well, everyone's blowing up and all that kind of stuff. Give us a little bit of insight, because I know that's not the case. I know there's a lot of underground artists that never get a look.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's one of the reasons that we even created our own format and our own platform, is because we were surrounded by so many cypher MCs that wasn't even necessarily in the studio making records, but you know, you pop in a cypher and you hear some bars, you hear people going hard, and it's like, where do you actually have a place where you can hear these different artists coming together and provide a environment and a platform for them? So to your point, there's still an unbelievable amount of MCs per capita in New York. Like, you go on any block, You go on any yard, you go anywhere, somebody spits bars. Whether it's, you know, the guy at the bodega, the dude who's working at the gas station. Hip hop is like an intrinsic part of the culture of New York, I feel like. And so you get anybody who got bars, but everybody's not getting put on. And so, you know, I do refer to myself as underground in that it's not known, but more proper, I would say, is independent. You know what I mean? Independent hip hop that you just doing it for the love because it's actually something that you care about and it's actually something that's just within you. And so, you know, people talk about New York hip hop and they'll identify with maybe the people that are getting money or getting spins and clicks. Now realizing that there's maybe a million more of those people that you never heard about that are just as dope that just never got a shot, never got that opportunity. You feel me? And so that's how End of the Week even started. It's like we were those guys who were just bully footing into ciphers, trying to find a space for us to do something that was more constructive. And there was no place for us to go, so we had to create our own shit. You know what I mean? And in that same spirit, we gave the opportunity for others to come along for the ride. And we continue in that spirit till today. You know, we're always looking for new, fresh, up and coming talent, and we're always looking to give them an opportunity to shine and to showcase their talent. And that's one of the tenets that this whole family is built on, is really just that communal aspect of love, sharing, and giving people an opportunity to create and to manifest their artwork.
So a couple of times in there, you mentioned the word create. So were you one of the guys who came up with the idea of End of the Week?
Yeah, so the story at End of the Week is like there was two crews. One of the crews was Eye to Eye, which is my original hip hop crew with my brother Vice Versus, rest in power. And then there's another crew called Solid Ground, and it was my brother Zoo, Big Zoo, and Nunzio, and they were a group out of Jersey that was heavy in the art scene in the Lower East Side, going to all the bragging rights joints, doing all the different spiral lounges and all of the lyricist lounge spots, all the things that you hear about in that 90s era of nostalgic hip hop for New York. We were some of the crews that were involved in that. And so what happened is we would end up like going to bars, drinking and freestyling over the DJ, creating all types of ruckus and things out front because we just wanted to spit like all the time. And it got to a point where the DJ, rest in peace, Joey Ty, was one of the DJs at a venue that we used to often, was like, yo, how about I find a place for you guys to come, set up an open mic, and you guys could rock and do your thing. And we jumped at that opportunity. Like, what do you mean? You're going to get us our own venue? We're not going to be rapping over the goodness by Redman while he's still rapping just because we love that beat? Definitely going to do that. We fast forward to the night that was supposed to be our first night, and Joey actually passed away. And he was unable to come to the first open mic that he even scheduled for these two crews to come together. And so, yes, I was there on the first day. I was one of the foundational members. I was one of the guys that Joey was trying to give a place that was more appropriate for my talent. And so we ended up bearing that torch for him and his name, really. So Joey Ty was the one who thought of the idea to have an open mic for us. Vice Versa is the one who thought of the name End of the Week because it's on a Sunday. And, you know, he loved his entendres, so it's week and week is WEAK, end of the week, but it was also at the end of the week on a Sunday. And so, you know, that was 25 years. On August that just passed, we celebrated our anniversary. And here we are still making music, still traveling globally and still putting it in, you know?
Be honest with me here.
Yeah, yeah.
In New York, you get so many artists that are blown up, that have become multimillionaires and they're household names and all that kind of stuff. So what is the attitude of the underground artists to see all of this happening, but yet they don't get the opportunities? Is there any envy, bitterness? Is there happiness for everybody? Like congratulations going all over the place? What's the general vibe? Because you obviously
Yeah.
said obviously you created End of the Week because there wasn't anything going on. So did that come from basically feeling like you were being stifled?
So I would think New York is a dog eat dog, you know, crabs in the barrel type of city, right? Everybody's trying to get to the top of the heap. And that was really something that was prevalent in the culture at the time, and I still think that remains prevalent. Like if you ask an MC who's the best MC, he's gonna say himself. And yeah, we're gonna show love and we're gonna give props to people that may have made it, but everybody believes in themselves as being the Optimus Prime of the whole shit. So I would say, you know, there's love, but I also think that there's this hunger to see if somebody else made it, I can make it too. I'm just looking for the opportunity and the shot to show and prove, you know? So I have a lot of brothers that have come in through the ranks, have made, you know, their bones in the underground, and now they're doing it major, yo. Some of the dopest people out right now. And I love that they came up through our ranks and they made it to a new level, but at the same time, I want to be right there too. We still want to have that same level of acclaim. So there's just an innate hunger from any MC that you talk to in New York that's going to be like, yo, just give me the shot. Give me my 3 minutes and I'm going to show you what's what. And I think that goes from anybody from the bodega all the way to the guy who's killing open mics and killing stages right now. And that's just kind of the way that we move, you know? That's the mentality of the city and the environment.
Is this your first time in the UK?
This is my second time out. The first time was 2009, and it was end of the week. We were doing an event out here. We did the MC Challenge, and that's when I originally had that crazy freestyle marathon with the bro. And you know, that shit was a spark that obviously lasted long enough that, you know, here we are 20 years later, and we got a bunch of work in the bank that we're about to let go. And so this is my second time out, but I would say that it's like my first time all over again, because like any city that's undergoing rapid change and money is involved and different communities coming in and out of it, it might as well be my first time here, you know?
What is the reason for you being in the UK this time round?
Got a man.
Got a man. It's the name of the new project that we just released. It's out on all platforms and all that, but I'm still an analog person at heart, you know? I feel like we did this whole project over the internet and just connecting over the wire. But when it was time to actually put it out into the world, I thought it was critical that me and the brother got together in real life and connected the energies and really send this off into the world as I would, you know, have done with anybody else, which is having a proper event together, sitting down, breaking bread, having a drink together, and really commemorating the work that we put in a human way, you know, that's not just us chatting on text or something like that. And so I told the bro like a few months back, like, when we drop the project, I'm gonna make sure that I come and see you in person to pay respect, first of all, to his talent, but also to just re-solidify the brotherhood that we created over this music and over this album.
Yeah. And Manage, I still remember one of the first, you know, when we were at the bus stop opposite Patrick's in New Cross.
Yeah.
You know, so
when I first spit bars to you and shit, like.
Yeah. You know, so you've come a long way. Now you're making connections with people in the States, and you're building like with so many other people, and you know, you've got a history that is a respectable history in the UK. There's a lot of people that look up to you for both your production and your rhyming skills. You know, your journey.
I'm appreciative of it,
bro. I mean, look, I meet a lot of people, yeah, and so many people used to come to my flat and they'd be like, yeah, I want to be a rapper, I want to be a producer, and then they just fall by the wayside. Not many of them have gone on to do what you've done, and you've been in this game, so people know you've been in this game. I think it was around 95 that we met.
Yeah, I would say that's about. I mean, I put out my first record in '98 with Defcon record. No, '99 with Defcon records, and that was like my first touch of doing anything professional. You know what I mean? But I was like writing and stuff before that, you know, and trying to learn the beat craft, and even linking up with you and coming up to your place in New Cross. That was it. I was open to it, you know. I just wanted to learn the ropes. Like what do? You know what I mean? I was hungry for it. And it kind of it's always just been that path, man. You know what I mean? Just make beats, write rhymes, and just went from strength to strength to strength. And nowadays it's more about production, which, you know, I originally not originally, but recently hit Pro up like, yo, like I see you're cooking some stuff, like, do you need beats? And boy, I sent him one beat, and one beat turned into an album real quick because he's a machine. Like I sent him a batch of like 10 beats, and he's hitting me up a week later. Yeah, I've recorded 5 of them. I'm like,
a week, bro. That's slow. I'd have done it in 7 minutes.
You know, Nah, the work ethic was crazy. So he's just sending me stuff back. So I'm just cooking up more beats, sending more, and he's just eating them all. I'm like, let's go, you know?
Yeah, it's rare that you meet somebody that has the same kind of work ethic as you as well. And I think that's what separates a lot of people, to your point, that say I want to be an MC or I want to be a producer. Is like sometimes you got to take yourself seriously, but you need to also put in the time into yourself and invest into the artwork, you know? And so like that's just about having the perseverance and having the focus. And a lot of times that's hard nowadays. People, you know, just struggling to eat and they, you know, meal to meal and what have you. But to carve out that space to actually invest in the craft that you love, you know, it takes seriousness and it takes dedication. And this brother, as you just said, he expresses all of that, and it shows in the body of work that we just put out, and also shows in his own individual lane and his bars and his production. You know what I mean?
You know, you mentioned there about eating and all that kind of stuff, people struggling to eat and everything. When, I
Yeah.
mean, Manage, you'll remember this. Like when you used to come to my flat, I didn't have any food. You know what I mean?
Nothing.
Right?
Nothing.
Nothing. Like
All you
literally,
drank was water.
all I had was water. Right? And there was literally
And I
times
was a
where,
hungry guy. I'd be like, Blade, you got anything to eat? Not a thing, man. Not a thing.
no, but the point I was gonna make is it's crazy how, as when you take your art serious, you don't even think about food. Like literally,
Yeah.
Nah,
for
bro.
me, I used to have 2 slices of bread all day. That was it. And
Like,
then,
like
you know,
you're writing a bar at like 1 a.m. and it's like, you need to sleep. And it's like, I'm not sleeping till this is done.
Yeah.
So you'll be up till 4, whatever, still writing, you know, there's no rest. You know, if you're heavy on the art thing, man, it just takes over, right?
are we allowed to talk about our first negative experience together?
What's that then? What's that going to be?
Remember when you were trying to sell me your first record, and I said I'm not going to buy it because I don't think you did a great job on it.
Yeah, all right, that's good.
Do you remember what happened?
It's vague. I'll be honest, man. It's real vague. But I remember you was the first guy to ever have a critical viewpoint on me, because most people I had met have just been like, "Yeah, you're sick. Yeah, you're dope. Yeah, you're dope." And I was just used to getting on the mic, doing my thing, and walking off with that energy. And you was like, I think the words was like, "Your flow needs work," and I was like, this guy talking about my flow needs work. I went away like, nah, man, what? But then, like some things you hear something, and when you look back, you go, nah, he was right. He was right. But them kind of words is what made me work harder on it, right? So,
Well, I'll tell you. So let me refresh your memory on this because I remember exactly what happened. So I was at the bus
yeah,
stop. And you came past and you said, "I've got my record with Defcon. You want to buy a copy?" And
yeah,
I said, "Let me hear it." And I said, "I'm not going to buy a copy just because I know you. I'm going to buy a copy of something I'm going to listen to and enjoy and all that because I ain't really got that kind of money to buy stuff just to support." I remember we
yeah,
just said I wasn't eating, right? So I have to be picky about what I spend my money on, right? So anyway, as much as I would have loved to have supported you, what I heard was your breath control was bad at the time.
yeah. That's what it was. It was about the breath control and flow, and that's right, because I was like, that was the first thing I ever done. I went from writing a little bit, a couple bars here and there, spitting on mics, and the next thing I was in the studio and they were putting a record out. And I was like, okay, this is moving fast.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I look back, I always said to myself, even, like, I wasn't ready for vinyl. No way. Do you know what I mean? But the heart was there, but the craftsmanship of being a rapper hadn't necessarily grown at that point, you know? And then, so at the time when you said it, I was like, nah, and what's this guy talking about, you know? But when you go away and you can process things and think about it, you was bang on the money. I wasn't ready.
Right.
Do you know what I
So
mean?
so let me just carry on that story because it's an interesting story because I think it's a story that shaped you into becoming more understanding of you as an artist and all that because you were like, but everyone's saying it's dope. And I'm like, well, everyone's lying to you, bro. Yeah, you're on the verge of being dope. But when I can hear that you're a heavy smoker in your rhymes and you're missing certain beats because your breath control is not good because of your smoking and all that kind of stuff. And I even said to you, stop
Yeah,
smoking, bro. It's not good for you.
you did. I remember.
Yeah.
I remember it clearly, man.
Right. And then for a whole year or so, I didn't hear a word from you. You vanished.
Yeah,
You didn't
yeah,
talk to me again.
working
Well, I don't
in
know.
the dojo, man.
Well, I just think I felt at the time that you weren't talking to me because you couldn't handle my honesty, and I was like cool with that. But then now we're gonna go to the next stage, right? So I remember going to Wembley Arena to do a show
Yeah.
for Cage Rage, and I
Oh,
bumped
yeah,
into
yeah,
you,
yeah. That's
and I
right.
bumped into you on the underground.
Yeah, no, you invited us down. I
Right,
rode with my boy
I bumped
Shane.
into you. But I bumped into you on the underground. We bumped into each other on
Yeah,
the underground. I didn't know you were on that same journey, so I bumped into you on the underground, and you stopped me when we were walking through the tunnel, and he said, "Listen to me, Ryan. Look, and tell me
yeah,
what you think." And you bust a verse, and I was like, "Oh shit! Now you serious?"
yeah.
You remember that?
I remember that, man. That was a good moment for me because, like, I think also the first time when I spit to you, like I was nervous. Like you was like someone I looked up to from my ends, and I was young, and you was like you're from the same hood as me, so I was like, this is Blade, and you've been putting out records, and you was doing good music. So, and I think the nerves got the better of me at the time. So, the breath was a bit all over the place, and it was erratic. You know what I mean? And I think that year of crafting my art and that as well, I was just like a lot more comfy by the next time I met you to, deliver something a bit better, you know what I mean? But no bullshit, man. First time I met you and spit to you, it's like you're spitting to someone you looked up to. And I was young, man, when I first met you and spit that, man. We're talking, mid-teens.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It was like, oh shit. Now
yeah.
I
I
got
just
Blade in front of me. I got his
Yeah.
full attention, his full
yeah,
ears, and I
yeah.
was like, shit, there is. But yeah, that's right. And I remember being at that Cage Rage thing, and I remember you saying to me, you like what I was spitting then,
Mm.
and that's pure.
wasn't
You
it
know what I
wasn't
mean?
it wasn't just that I liked what you were spitting then. So it's first of all, it's going to be sad to see you not doing as much on the spitting side of things, but it wasn't because
Yeah,
it wasn't because of anything other than all of a sudden when I'm hearing you rhyming, I'm not hearing all the in between all the lines.
yeah,
Now
yeah,
you're
yeah.
pacing yourself a certain way. You've calmed down and you're not trying to be.
That's it. That was
You get
it.
what I mean?
Calm down.
and
Yeah.
uh, and that calmness, and it's kind of weird, but in calmness comes all the strength and the energy and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
But you could
So
just channel it, man. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like you can channel it.
I think that was a good time that you actually went away. I think the important thing for me was that you weren't necessarily listening to me now. Now you were listening back and analyzing yourself to the point where you were like, you know
Yeah.
what? He was right. He was right. And look at what you came back to. You know what I mean?
I've also said to people about the first time when I spit to you. Do you know what I mean? And I said, like I said earlier, you was one of the only people who was honest
Mm.
with a critique. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people were just like, "Yeah, you sound dope. Yeah, you sound dope." Do you know what I mean? Because I was a presence and I was just spitting. But when you said that to me, it was like it gave me room to think like, what does he mean? Like, you know what I mean? Because it was also about the flow as well. And I was like, I need to go work on things. You know what I mean? But that's I think a good thing. I've often done the same thing with younger guys as well who have come to me and they've spit bars and I've been like, look, man, like you got something there, but you just need to like work your craft a piece, you know what I mean? And some people have just been a straight like, that's what you talking about, fuck off. Like, and other people have really taken it on board and worked with me in studio and ended up being real good rhymers, you know?
There's a difference between like going to open mic and spitting and trying to like catch a body and kill shit, and then being a recording artist and go in the studio and to actually capture the emotion and the depth of what you're saying with conviction and getting it recorded right. And that takes time, and it takes
Definitely
you got to
takes
get
time.
in the booth, you got to practice, and you got to really like hone that part of your skill set. It's a different muscle, so to speak, than just showing up at an open mic
Yeah,
and spitting bars that's gonna blow somebody's head off.
yeah. I
So,
mean, the first few years was all just getting on the mic, like just body and mics. That's what
Right.
it was all about. You know? Half of it was freestyle.
yeah. I mean, bro, what I liked about you was I could see that you were hungry, that you wanted this. But I could also
Mm.
see that there was a little bit of ego involved in the beginning. And when you got ego and pride and all them kind of things, you let that get in the way of progress quite often. I was saying to you, if you want to be an MC, you got to be more than this guy. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's a discipline, man. You know, you got to discipline yourself in things to get the best out of it. You know what I mean? So it's just what you got to do. You got to put the work in. You know what I mean?
And just to make it clear on camera, when I said all those negative things, it wasn't because I was trying to knock you down. It was because I was trying to build you up.
You asshole. I think our friendship has been so long that it them things there was something I took on board as a young man, learning my craft, and it went a long way, man. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people need that, man. A lot of people didn't get that, and I hear them, and they're out there doing this and that, and I'm like, you're not polished. You know, you haven't spent them hours, or you haven't had people around you, your elders, people you respected, saying to you, nah, this and that. You know what I mean? This needs work, that needs work.
Yeah. Also, what I was trying to do was to try and get to spend more time with Batcher as well. That's why I was just making sure that you always kept coming back.
Yeah.
But yo, Prolific.
Yeah.
When you look at all the artists in America and everything, and you see the amount of success that's happened, and you see what's going on in the world, what do you see?
So, there's a lot of interesting things going on. It is interesting because hip hop is now global. You know what I mean? So it's like while there's like a big American influence, it's interesting to see that the world market has grown and kind of blossomed so much. But what I've been seeing, bro, honestly, is there's a couple of different schools. I like the reemergence of the lyrics, of the culture vibes. When we listening to people like Kendrick, you know what I mean? When we're seeing people like J. Cole and them being considered some of the best artists out there right now. I think even like 5 years ago, you weren't even hearing an artist that was spitting anything that was, knowledge driven, being put into the right criteria or in the right placement in terms of what people were looking at. But on the other side of it, you got people that are spitting shit that's not even words. They're just making noises and shit over a beat. And there seems to be this whole culture that's kind of following that wave too. Um, personally, like I was saying earlier, I come from a different school. So some of the things that might be popular now ain't really my kind of wave, even though I understand there's a younger youth type of faction that's kind of gravitating towards that. And I think a lot of that is having to do with drug culture and kind of like where people are just vibrationally. But I think on the healthy, positive side, there's a lot of dope MCs that are out right now that are actually spitting bars. And we hadn't even seen that, I would say, in the previous 10 years. So I think, things are shaping up nice. And it looks like lyrics are back, MCing is back, that boom bat sound is back. We got a lot of young MCs, that weren't even born in the 90s that are doing 90s era vibes, that are looking at, the OGs and reclaiming some of that sound and some of that energy. So I feel optimistic about it, honestly, bro. Like, I feel kind of good about where the culture is actually starting to veer in terms of the resurgence of what we would call that golden era kind of hip hop sound.
So I have a question for both of you. So if you could answer separately, that would be amazing. So
Yeah.
do you think you guys and your generation and generations that followed after have been given a fair shot, that they've had enough opportunities? Or when you say, for example, you go to, I don't know, let's say the O2 Academy, and you're seeing your Far Side, your De La Souls, your all that. Do you think it's just the same artists that keep coming back? Do you think the more artists deserve an opportunity? You could put them on the same stage. What's your opinion from your
Personally, I feel
perspective?
like
From your perspective. So I guess the question is, do you feel that you guys are getting a fair shot?
I think this is a conversation that me and him have been having over the last couple of days in terms of like, it's hard to be an artist, to be a label, to be a marketer, to be a press person, and to not really have the machine behind you pushing all of the buttons. And, you know, it's like you want to dig in and just be a rapper or just to be an MC, but you actually have to wear every single hat. So I think it comes down to resources, right? And not having like either capital or not having human resources to really support all of the different um, individual parts that it takes for you to really get out there and to get, you know, the shot that you want. So I think when people hear our shit, they fuck with it, they gravitate towards it, and they like it. It's just a matter of like, what is that path of getting to the people, and like, what are you willing to trade off in order to get that, right? It used to be like sign a deal, sign a 360, and the label's going to take 90% of everything you make, but everybody's going to hear you. Now with direct to consumer and being able to go directly at people and leverage like social media and other tools that weren't available to us in previous eras, it's a little bit easier. But what people don't realize is that even that is a skill. Even that takes time investment or financial investment. And it really all boils down to the money. So I feel like if you have the resources and the investment behind you, guys like us could get a fair shot. I see independent artists that do have those opportunities come up for them. But if we're talking about like being able to break into the mainstream to actually get that reach that people so desire, is just as hard or much harder now because the pool is fucking full. Everybody's a rapper now. If you got an iPhone and some fucking beats, you think you're ready to go. You're primed and ready to go. And some people, for some reason, have taken off through the YouTube era, through the TikTok era. So I would say that like I said, the pool is much more full. There's a lot more tools and opportunity if you have time and resource or skills to leverage those. But like content is king nowadays. So it's almost like, are you an MC or are you just a content creator? And even that gets to be like a gray kind of difficult area. Because for me, like I don't want to walk around on my iPhone filming myself all day just so that I can get that reach, right? I'd rather be working on these bars or putting down something and like sending it out there. But if you don't have both and all the other parts, there's a lot more things to juggle now, which make it difficult. And that's a roundabout way of saying more opportunity now, better ability to get directly in front of your market and in front of your audience, but with so much oversaturation of the marketplace, it gets harder and harder to stand out amongst the crowd.
I listened to everything that you said, and there's a couple of things that I'd like to add to that, if it's okay, before Manage answers his segment. First and foremost, the direct to consumer thing. Obviously, Manage, you know, that was what I was doing right from the beginning. You know, like I was standing on the streets and selling direct to the consumers. So
Yeah.
you know, as an artist, right from the beginning, I made a choice, and I think this is where artists, because really, what artists need to do is build their profile before anybody wants to mess with them, right? And the way to build your profile is hit every stage possible, turn up wherever, stand on street corners, go and get yourself arrested while everyone's filming you, do whatever. You know what I mean? But doing it while you're doing your art, doing your craft. You know, so you know we went direct to consumer, and the aim was not to go for the numbers. We didn't care about everybody in the world watching. We cared about the enough people watching so that we can get what we needed. As an artist, I always felt like what was important was just to sustain myself, not to necessarily end up in the charts and, you know,
Yeah.
buy a house overnight and all that kind of stuff. All of that's great, but that's not what being an artist is to me. So when you're talking about these content creators, you know, I was saying this to someone yesterday. You know, when we were growing up and we wanted to play football, we wanted to play football because we just enjoyed the game. And then somewhere
Right.
along the line, somebody came along and goes, "You're good. You should play for this team. Let's see if we can get you in." Then suddenly you're playing for a team. Then what happens is they started seeing that you can make money from this. So they were like, "Now I want to play football because I want to make money. I want to be like that guy on the screen." Then what happens is it goes even one step beyond that. And now the parents are having children just so they can teach them to play football and get them to make money. You know what I mean? So where do we draw the line? Where does all this attention seeking for all the wrong reasons draw the line? I mean, I'm not saying that the footballers ain't good, but what I'm saying is them kids, if they weren't brought up and forced to play football by their parents, they'd probably want to do something different with their lives, not be a footballer. We don't know because we don't talk to them. So these content creators, all they're doing is chasing money. There is no skill involved. As far as I'm concerned, it's just like look at someone talking nonsense online and then comment on it. There you go. I'm a millionaire now.
Even like if you look at it now, it used to be there was a talented person maybe in the community, and the old route would be like, oh, they got a hustler on the block, and the hustler maybe would fund them and give them some resource, and then that would help them to get kind of a jump off. Now it's like the hustler is like, yo, I don't even need the artist anymore. I could be the artist and make the tune myself and get out there and call myself a rapper, you know? And it's like, and sometimes it's not even driven by passion for the art. It is really just, to your point, driven by trying to get paid and trying to get bread, you know? And so I think those things are mutually exclusive, right? When you look at people like us who are artists who do art for the sake of art and for the love of the art, and that remains as the core of what we do. I think even the approach is different when we come to the music, or when we're thinking about what we want to put out there and how we want to have ourselves projected out to the world. You know, the end goal, to your point, isn't maybe to get the net to catch everybody. You just want to catch the people that's on your same vibe and your same wavelength, right? You don't need 1,000,000. You maybe need 100 or 1,000 people that actually really love the art.
Yeah. And that was literally when I hit the streets selling records. That's exactly what my thought was. I don't care about the millions. What you do, you talk to as many people as possible, and out of 20 people you talk, you try and catch one. And
Right.
you know, I talked a lot, so I talked to a lot of people. You know, sometimes they told me to f off and whatever, and it was cool because like right behind them, someone else was watching the entertainment and buying a record. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was all fun. You know what I mean? But Manage, what about you? Do you think you've had a fair shot? Not just you, but artists generally get a fair shot when you know all this stuff is going on, and in particular with what he mentioned about content creators, because now it's a different type of attention.
Yeah. I mean, like, to be honest, I'm a bit lost with it all. Like, you know, I'm not really up on how to get out there nowadays, how to do this and that. I kind of just lock myself in my own zone, do my own thing, and try not to really think about it. You know, I just concentrate on the art now. But you know, I'm a bit older now, so I've done a lot, and time to change a hell of a lot from when I was out there putting out rap albums like consistently, and you know, doing shows and everything, where it wasn't about content creation. It was about getting on mics in front of people, spitting, or you know, getting your music heard by certain DJs playing it and pushing it, and that was the way. But now it's a new world to me, and to be honest, like, I kind of just don't really take too much part in it. You know, I'm not massively on socials. I'm not really one to put a camera on and talk a lot and stuff like that. You know, I prefer the art of it. I'm not trying to do the business side of it either. You know, I'm really not out there trying to massively sell things. You know, although if people want to go buy the music, that's real good because it's going to help a lot, and it's going to help me put out more good music. You know, and work with more people. But I don't know, man. I realized that even like when I was working with the Lab 79 thing, and that is that I realized I can take it so far, but this next step is kind of beyond me nowadays because, you know, I like the creation side, I like the studio side, and I like writing and being artistic. But yeah, I mean, it's a new world, man, and I don't really feel like massively engaged in it, you know. To be honest, a lot of it frustrates me as well. Like if I do sit on the socials and stuff like that, and I see the stuff people are doing, hi, like and subscribe, this and that, and all the time, and always being in the face. It's just like, man, I just want to hear your music, man. Just what you're doing, like, you know. So, yeah, I just kind of like it's just a bit alien to me nowadays, you know. I feel like a dinosaur out here, man. You know, but I'm just happy, like in this comfort place where I am now, where it's just making music, you know, and spending more time on the production and the sounds and listening, you know, and yeah, I mean, you know, I just don't know where it's all going, you know, for heads that are coming out who are dope artists. you can't just be a dope rapper now. You can't just be a dope beat maker. You've got to have your whole social shit on lock. And, you know, like even like to get a distribution deal, say, to get your music out there on all these streaming outlets and stuff, they want to know what your socials are saying. They want to know you're popping like that. I mean, this is just madness to me, man. Like, you know, if you're good, you're good, right?
Yeah.
And what's good to someone might be not good to someone else. And that's, you know, everyone's got opinions, right? But, you
Yeah.
know, I just find it a real strange place. And to see where it's going, I mean, I imagine it's two sides. I mean, it's a lot easier to get heard now, but then with that, there's just a lot of people getting heard that maybe some of the good talent is maybe getting slept on, you know, because they don't have banging social media. They're not saying the latest catchphrases. They're not up on this TikToking and and everything. You know what I mean? Maybe they've got stuff going on in their life that stops them being on everything. You know, so.
You said it's a lot easier to get heard, but I also believe it's also a lot easier to be forgotten.
Very true, man. I mean, in this digital age now, I was having a conversation earlier and I said to someone, an artist who's putting out music, and I said, like, you're going to do hard copies, you know, because that's your legacy. You know, you get hard copies out of this stays, as where this whole digital thing, you know, you can drop an album and fall on deaf ears, and you know, you might have put a years of real hard work into that, and within 2 weeks it's pretty much gone, you know. You know,
Where,
you're
where,
accumulating a small amount of views, you know.
where you were saying about, you know, you wanted to focus on the artistry rather than all the other stuff because that's not your thing and everything. That's exactly what Prolific was saying about wearing the different hats. Because look, when and
Yeah.
again, I can only use myself as an example because I know what I did, right? It's like when I started my label and I was being the artist, I was everything. I was the producer, the rapper, the designer, the label, the distributor, the salesperson, the accountant, and I was literally everything. And, you know, I knew somewhere along the line, and I think this is something that you probably able to relate to. I knew somewhere along the line, I had to sacrifice the art a little bit to make the business work.
I said, or you end up just spreading yourself so thin because you're trying to juggle so much that something has to give, you know, to try to find a balance.
It's stressful as
It's
well,
stressful. Yeah.
Talk about that stress, like, because I think a lot of people they just think all of you artists grow on trees and you just put an album out because it grew up on this branch next to the branch you were born on. And, you know what I mean? Like, so tell people what it's like being an artist from each of your perspectives.
It's like when you have your first kid and you don't know what the fuck to do, and you're like, how am I gonna, where do I find? And it's this journey of discovery, and it's beautifully painful, right? It's anxiety, it's joy, um, and you spend a lot of time in your mind, I think, just ruminating and trying to like figure a way out the maze, right?
Yeah, bouncing ideas off the wall back to yourself, and trying to do this, trying to do that, man. It's
And that's
hard work.
if you care, right? And we're saying it as artists who actually care. Like, it's not just a business product that we created to put out for the means of, you know, just trying to get some type of compensation for it. Like, if it's something that you actually care about and it's meaningful to you, then I would, you know, equate that to almost like having a child and just trying to figure out. And you worried, is it gonna, you know, go outside and get hurt? And you worried, is like, once it goes out, is somebody gonna say something that's gonna, you know, affect it in a way?
When I'm making a project, I'm not even thinking about how we're gonna sell this, how we're gonna get this heard. Right. I'm just thinking about the craft and the sounds and what we're creating there. And I'll get to all that stuff later. We'll get to thinking about how we're gonna get this seen and packaged and so on. Yeah. But you know, most of the time I'm just so busy in the art of it, you know, that's where I like to stay now. But it's taken me this long to realize that I'm really not the guy to be running businesses and things like that. And like you said, I have different hats for different things. And I kind of just realized it's not for me, man, you know, and I'm not trying to blow up.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea is ridiculous to me now.
I think that's important.
I just like the craftsmanship of this now, and it's something that I enjoy. believe it or not. Like, you know what I mean? It's not something that I see as a career or anything like that. This is something that I do almost as a hobbyist now in my spare time. I mean, someone could be investing money into going to football matches, or, you know, in toy cars or models or whatever. And, you know, I kind of just take my time and effort and put it into what I enjoy doing, which is making music now, you know?
Yeah, for me, I think it's both. Like, I don't want to put something into the world for it to disappear, to your earlier point. But at the same time, my end goal is to look back and to look at the portfolio and the body of work that I've created and to be proud of it. Yeah. And to know that every single piece in the collection I put into work, I try to dot all the I's and cross all the T's, you know what I mean? And make sure that I gave it a fair chance to go out into the world and be a meaningful expression of myself. And, you know, if I kick rocks tomorrow, that I feel good about what I left behind, you know?
Yeah, I think it's so important. Like, I personally, when I talk to people about how social media works, I'm not going to be the first person to jump up and go, I understand it. I understand the algorithms and all that. I don't understand all of that because I feel like it changes all the time. But what I do understand is you can put a piece of content up, you can have a record out, you put it up, everyone's talking about it for that one day that is following you and liking it. And 10 seconds after they've liked it, most of them don't even know what they've liked because they've moved on to 700 other things they like. And
I feel I'm kind of lucky that I came in the time that I did, because a lot of the people who check my music have been fans for a long time. And, you know, it hasn't been sort of spoon fed through social media and things like that. So I'm kind of grateful that I came up in that, you know, late 90s through the, you know, boom bap era, making it, and it's a blessing, man, you know, really.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, when I walk down the street and people recognize me and whatever, and they go, "Oh my God, you're Blade," and whatever. Like, it's a proud moment because it's so long after I retired, and people are still remembering you because they're saying they've got your album in their house.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whereas it's like I don't know. Anyway, the social media thing, I just think it works for the people that were kind of there early, but I'm not sure that it works for everyone else unless they've found a way, you know, to manipulate the algorithms or whatever. And I'm not sure that that's what artists are supposed to do. You know, you want to be an artist.
If you got people you trust, you know, who can put out your music for you, and you can leave them to do that side, and they leave you to get on with what you're good at and want to be doing. I mean, that's the best place, you know. That's the place I think a lot of artists would thrive in, you know, and get their best creations out there. You know what I mean? If you ain't got to think about, oh, I've got to be posting this, or I've got to be hollering this and doing all this other stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We need more labels, man. We need more labels.
Well, you know what? Like, if you're ever tired of being an artist, you've got the knowledge to be able to set up a label and actually take over the business side and do things. You know, but obviously that's going to take money and all that, and it does need people with the knowledge and the experience. You know, like, you can't be the football player all the time. Sometimes you know your knees hurt and you want to be the coach. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you saw we was putting out music independently as Lab 79, and I think the main stumbling block was money. You know, I wanted to put out hard copies of music. I wanted to invest in certain things and stuff, and we was just trying to do everything on basically no budget.
Right. So what I'm trying to figure is this, right? How are there so many members in the group, but you haven't got enough money to put a record out? Right? I mean, it would have been a case of everyone put £300 in. You know, I'm sure, you know, if you saw a £600 jacket that you liked, you'd have bought it. So
I think when you say that, you need to question people's drive necessarily and how much they are willing to invest in themselves as an artist. Like, you know, I would have no problem investing that in myself because I back myself, you know. But other people maybe are not thinking like that necessarily, you know, or maybe they have a different thing their money needs to be going to, you know. But me, I needed to make my own studio, so I went and bought equipment. I invested money.
Can I throw something in there? Was it a case of, you said you need to question people's drive and everything? Was it a case of questioning people's drive or their motives? Were their motives to just basically be rappers and rap on beats and not care where it went? Or was it more a case? I mean, did you ever sit down, for example, with Lab 79 and say to them, guys, we need to be on vinyl. All of us need to do this because this can provide something. Because I'm telling you now, bro, when them guys came in and did what they did here, I honestly thought
Yeah.
that you guys were going to blow.
We had them talks. There was plans to do shows, make enough money, reinvest the money into hard copy vinyl releases and stuff. But the truth is, we just weren't making that much money to do it. So
Yeah,
then you're
but
talking about people reach into their pocket, right? And invest and put it on the table. And there was talks of it, but it just kind of never materialized because, people had life commitments and no one had any money, man. It was all
Okay,
broke out here, you know what I mean?
so let me just make a comparison to myself because I know my situation. Bro, like I said, you came to my flat. You saw me not eating. Yeah?
Yeah.
You saw me not eating. I had a fridge which had an empty butter container that was filled with water, right? Because I didn't even have money to buy butter, right? That's basically what was going on. That's the shit you were seeing. But somehow, when you're that determined to be that artist, to be that successful or whatever, you find ways and you sacrifice and you decide, you know what? Today, I'm not going to buy a Chinese takeaway. And for me, that I'm not buying a Chinese takeaway went on for 8.5 years.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
then we question people's determination to want to be something more. So what I'm saying is, when there was so many of you in the group and there was only me, but somehow I was more broke than all of you combined, right? But I managed to find a way. So I understand people have different
I
determination
think that's a
levels.
question that you would need to ask the people involved at the time and not just me, because I think it's pretty evident I was fully fledged to do everything possible and invest my time, effort and money. And I'll be honest, like a lot of the time I was bouncing ideas off the wall back to myself, trying to come up with things. And I needed more than even just money. I needed enthusiasm,
Right, that's what I was
and
trying to get at. It has to be more than money.
it was a struggle, and sometimes there's a lot of energy at the start of something, and then as time goes on and you need to go to the next level and get more serious, and maybe it's not for everyone at that moment, or maybe sometimes what you think is a tight unit, it isn't as tight as you think.
Yeah, which
you know
is a shame because talent-wise, it was very tight. You know what I mean? Like I said, bro,
Absolutely,
when
and
you guys,
also a lot of us are real good friends as well.
yeah,
But we was at different places, and like for instance, Conflict invested in himself to put out his project, and it's I think like getting the hard copies for like vinyl and stuff, it was just so expensive at the time as well. And it just seemed like a steep mountain. Now the idea was that we just keep putting out content digitally, raise enough money, do shows, and then we can put out the hard copies. And it was always there in the background, but unfortunately, things fall apart, man.
do you feel like when you kind of got into the routine, and this is, I guess, a question for both of you as well. When you go into the routine of constantly putting out digital, thinking it's going to get you to a place where you can put out physical, you end up getting caught in the digital trap where you can't do the physical now.
It's hard to say because I think there are collectors and there are people that literally want that physical copy of the music. They love the tangible to have something in their hand. And then you have people that only consume media digitally. They're on their phone. They want to use, you know, the platform that shall remain nameless, which pays you way less than even $1 per spin, and they could get that for free on their device. And like I said, it's like fast food for them. So I think as an artist, it's even difficult to say, hey, I'm gonna reserve my artwork for the tangible piece instead of just putting it on the platform. Because I think I know for me, I want my shit out there. I want to make it accessible to the audience. I want to be able to tell you where you could go and find it. And sometimes it feels like if I'm selling you a product and you're not a collector, there now becomes this barrier to bring you into my ecosystem because you're not, you know, a collector or you're not interested in that physical piece. You want to just get on your platform and look me up. And so it's a challenge, you know, and trying to make that decision in that direction. I was telling the similar artist he was speaking to earlier, is like now, lucky there are places where you could run a small batch. You don't have to order 2,000 pieces of vinyl. You could do 100 pieces, you know, at a pretty cost-effective price point, and you could target the people from your community that really going to support you and bang with you. So I feel like it's finally a time where we could do both, and it's pretty cost-effective to be able to do it. The challenge becomes, to your point, is like if you're putting all your eggs and getting that distribution and people already listen to it, are they going to turn around and now go and buy it from you? Or were you better withholding it from them and then just going to that base group of people that really support you? And I think that's just about you knowing your audience and being tapped into where your demographic is at and how they want to consume your product, or making a stance as an artist and being like, yo, I'm only doing, you know, 50 pieces of vinyl and 25 tapes. And, you know, I've seen that work too. You look at somebody like a Mac Hami, you know what I mean? Or you look at, you know, at Ka, you know what I'm saying? The cats who was just like, yo, I'm putting out physical and it's not going to be on your streaming platform. And if you bang with me, come support me. But you got to take a position. And ultimately, I think it's difficult to get to a place as an artist where you're okay just being like, yo, I'm just gonna bang these 50 pieces and I'm gonna sell them for $500 each, and whoever comes and buys them fucks with you, you know. Because like for me personally, I be in passion. I'm like, yo, I want to put this shit on YouTube right now. I just want people to hear it. I get excited, you know. Yeah. Especially when it comes back from mastering. I'm like, let it go.
Yeah, yeah.
Knowing your audience or finding your audience?
Both. I think they're two different things. So knowing the people that you already have, to your point, that bang with you, your day ones, and who they are, and you know, keeping close to them, and then finding them is a totally different mission, right? I think that's that's one of the biggest challenges I feel like for an artist is like you don't want to be everywhere because every place is not for you. So you got to just slowly try to like curate and find the places that make sense for you to exist, so you can really tap in. And I feel like I've been doing this for 20 years, and I'm still working on that. You know, and I think that's something that I probably will continue to work on, and it's probably like a mission, a lifelong mission in terms of being out there trying to find your people, find your tribe, and share your music with them.
Yeah. Obviously, we need to talk about your new project that you got, but before we go on to that, I just want to find out a little bit more about your background. What if you've been involved with other groups? Obviously, we know your involvement with the End of the Week now, and big up for doing that and being one of the people that was involved in the mix right from the get-go. What other group experiences are you involved with?
Yeah, so the first group that I was in, Eye to Eye, was myself and my brother Vice Versus, and I was telling him earlier that we had like a Wu-Tang type posse early on. But I was actually kind of empathizing with what he said with regards to how you have a group of people and like it's hot and the fire is burning, and then life starts getting in the way. You know, other people's priorities start getting in the way, ego and things like that start to get into, and it starts to thin out. And so the last two members were me and my brother Vice Versus, and we have an album. It's on streaming platforms under Eye to Eye, Year of the Eye. And then from within End of the Week, myself, Vice, and Zoo, who are the three original hosts, had a group called Three Kings. And we put out some work as the Three Kings End of the Week. And so we have a project out there. And then most recently, after my brother Vice transitioned, my bro Zoo, Big Zoo, and myself, we started a group called Gods of the Basement. And so Gods of the Basement is the latest group project that I worked on with him. About 2 years ago, we put out an LP that's out there on streaming platforms. We have another product that we sell direct to consumer only that's at our website, godsofthebasement.com. And we also have a third project that we've yet to release because to the point we're still trying to figure out, like, Is this direct to consumer the best way for us to go? Should we be on all streaming platforms? You know, quiet is kept. We got a vault of about 1,000 pieces of vinyl that we're going to put into the marketplace soon and test that and see how that works out. But it's always just trying to like experiment and try different things to see really what hits. So yeah, you know, I've worked in the group, I've worked individually, you know what I mean? And there's pros and cons to all of it. You know what I mean? And it's just about what works best for you. But I think the energy and, to your point, enthusiasm is the most critical part of it. Like if people aren't excited about the project and the group, it's very easy for that fire to go out, you know?
And the more people you have in the mix, the more that's going to happen.
The more personality.
Right. So just to kind of add something to that little bit there, I feel sorry for all the people that are in groups because there's always going to be ego issues and whatever. Some groups are fortunate enough to carry on because they know the business is more important. But sometimes you get individuals, solo artists like myself, who can't get along with myself. So we're always falling out. So, yeah. So for anyone who was a Blade fan in the early days, when I took the 5-year sabbatical, it's because of that. I couldn't get on with myself. Me and my other self, we used to have punch ups.
Your alter ego, bro.
Yeah, tell me about it. So yeah, Manage. What about you? We know obviously about Lab 79. We know Caxton Press. Anything else you've been involved with? How did things go with Caxton Press? And what did you learn from those experiences to take you to where you are today?
I kind of learned that I don't really want to be in a group. Like, you know, like it's just not. I've tried that a few times and it's cool. And like, I think you can make more noise being in a group, like as far as on the getting heard and, you know, that's all cool. And if the dynamic's really cool, then yeah, nice. But I just like doing my own thing now, really. And like linking up with like Pro on this project and other artists I've worked on projects for. I kind of like that vibe, really, just doing my own thing. I like to collab with people and work with people, but maybe on smaller scale projects and not trying to be like a group. You know, like I'm happy to do a project with someone and then move on, you know, and just keep doing that. But like Caxton was great at the time, man. We did a lot of good stuff and I learned a lot, you know. And like everything's always learning, you know, and you can take from it and go forward. But I think doing them things, you know, I learned that I probably don't want to do them as well, you know, and that's cool. You know, I found a place where I'm actually happy making music, as where, you know, other times maybe it was more stress and stuff like that, but I'm not really in that place right now. I'm just in a good creative zone all the time. And production was something I always wanted to be in, but I never had no equipment. I could never afford it, you know. So I saved up and I got piece by piece, and I bought some stuff secondhand, and I just, you know, did that. And you know, that's a real good place for me right now, you know. But I think groups are quite difficult, man. You know, for different reasons, you know, like we said, egos, and some people have musical ideas to go one way and some people might want to go a different way.
One of the first times that I met you, I remember you inviting me to the ciphers that you used to have in the park. And I remember telling you then that I wasn't going to turn up because I don't do the group thing. Like I've had enough of the group situation, and at least I know where I stand with myself. You know what I mean? As much as I beefed with myself and punched myself up every now and then, I still understood myself. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't blame you for the things you're saying about being in groups because it is difficult because there's so many egos and pride issues to deal with and whatever. And as well as that, every artist, I believe artists become artists basically because they all want to be heard. They all basically have something important that they feel they need to say. And if their voice is in some way being lesser recognized than somebody else in the group, then issues begin. Jealousy begins, envy begins, everything begins. And it's a downward spiral from there on. So, you know, all I can say at this point is it's a shame that the Caxton Press thing didn't work out the way on a bigger scale. And it's the same for Lab 79. It's a shame there as well. So, you know, that's that basically because, like I said, we felt like Lab 79 was going to make some kind of big noise. it was looking that way. Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the rain is going to stop us, but we need to talk about your current project. You've just been doing a video shoot today, and the rain held out for that. And you had a graffiti piece done and whatever. So I'm looking forward to seeing
Yeah,
what
we
the
did.
video is about. What can you tell us about the album?
Yeah, so I mean, like he said, the impetus was he sent the record over and he said, you know, you guys want to get some work done. And then I was like, I mean, me personally, I love this shit. And like, I love when I connect with a producer that has a sound that resonates with me, because some people will send you music and it's just not your vibe, you know? It might be for somebody else. And it just seemed like Manage was on the right frequency for me personally. And so I asked him to kind of extend his grace and send me some more music. And it just picked up quick. You know, it was just like I was at a place where I was writing really heavy. I had just finished, you know, going through a lot of life experience. And so I had a lot of things kind of in my mind, in the back of my mind, that I needed to kind of express and work through. And I feel like music is therapeutic, you know, for all of us, whether you're a listener or whether you're an active participant in the culture or a musician. And so, you know, it kind of just all hit at the right time. It was a universal alignment. And so, you know, this is the first of a few different things that we got cooked up in the can.
Yeah.
It's 10 brand new songs.
Yeah, it don't even stop there.
Yeah.
The one piece. I mean, we've already got much more happening.
So it's 10 brand new songs, you know,
So
all produced by the brother right here.
So would it be fair to say that you are now a group, or you're just producer, MC?
No, we're just working on some good music, man. Like, you know, we're just cooking, man, cooking. You know,
Cooking.
So
Yeah, I don't think we said it's a formal collaboration between Lab 79 and Eye to Eye Music, which is my own personal vanity label that I
79, or is it managed?
It's managed.
Okay.
You know what I mean? He's the last member and I'm the last member, and so we both respectively carrying the flags of our fam and shit and representing. And we just going in. I think it's just kind of a good place. Manage don't want to do the thinking about the artwork or thinking about the rollout and all that shit.
Like, he's been real good, like,
and I do that. You know what I mean?
He's a real good, like what you would say is an independent artist. Like, he's got his own website. He's very driven. As where a lot of situations I've been in, I've had to be the driving force. And this, how I said to you early days, like, wow, I'm really impressed with how you are on it, that I don't really have to think about all this stuff. And I can just literally make beats, handle the mixing and the arranging after and the tracks and get on that vibe. And you happy to deal with a lot of the stuff. And that was like a breath of fresh air to me, man.
So instead of,
and I drive matches as well, because we're both just like on it. Like, let's go. There's nothing holding us.
So instead of each of you wearing 10 caps each, you're now splitting it 5 caps each.
Yeah, that's right, bro. 5 and 5, you know what I mean? And it's great because like I feel like I don't have to now think about this little interlude piece that I want to have, or how can we arrange this part so that it, you know, sounds flavor. Whereas I might have to be coaching a different producer into something like that because maybe they're not as engaged in the project. But with Manage, like he's as excited about the work as I am, and so it just came out naturally. It was really God in man, just manifesting itself into the music. And you know, we just in the gym doing reps and putting out this work, man.
Would you say it was a meeting of like-minded souls, individuals, basically, because you, for example, Manage is on the beat and you can trust Manage to just get on with it, fill the choruses, do whatever, and you trust he's going to do the right thing. And then Manage likewise can look at the artwork and go, look, I'll leave it with you. I'm happy with what you do.
Absolutely. Everything he sent me back, I've just been in total agreement, just like, yep.
Yeah.
There's never really been anything where I'm like, that's where I've had that a lot in the past, you know, where it's like, I've got to be a major creative force on it. But this guy is really driven, man. And everything we've done so far is just dope.
Yeah. And it's just something that I think is beyond both of us. It was just like the universe conspired to align us at the right time. and now we're just seeing the byproduct of that in the music. And then not to call it a byproduct, we'll call it the effects of that alignment, you know, in the musical form.
Okay, so how many tracks are on the album?
So we got 10 tracks. It's 12 tracks altogether. It's 10 records and it's two skits on it, but those are also produced by the bro. And it's just like 41 minutes front and back, and you can hit repeat every time, and you can catch something new every time if you dig in and listen.
Bro, now that we're talking about the album Manage, there's like a heavenly light on you, so you're looking a bit blurry.
Yeah, it's the rain.
I think it's the rain, bro.
It's on the camera.
Okay.
It's probably a dot on the right on the lens. There you go.
It's a sign.
It's the God and Man coming out.
God and Man.
So what are you hoping? First of all, when is the release date?
Oh, well, we're out now. We're live.
We're live.
We're live right now, man.
When was that?
We're live on all platforms, but I would say if you want to support us, prolificwone.art is prolific WONE.art. And if you buy directly from the website, all that money is going right back into the account so we can do the next joint. We have t-shirts on there, limited edition t-shirts with the album art, which was done by Sens, which is a UK mural artist who does some really tremendous work, and he donated the art to us for this particular project, and it also collaborated on the limited edition t-shirt. We'll probably do 100 of them, and then they'll be gone off the planet Earth. So if you really bang with us and want to support independent creators, hit the website, buy a t-shirt, buy a download. If you buy a shirt, you get a free download, so you get that twofer. But, you know, if you just want to consume the content and support us on your regular platforms, double tap the heart on any streaming platform. I'm not going to say one over the other, even though one of them obviously pays you almost nothing every time they spin your music. But we won't talk about that whose name shall not be mentioned.
Direct, man. Direct, you know?
Direct.
Yeah, wicked. I'm glad that's the way you're going. What about features? Have you got any features on the album?
Got this man featured on the album.
I'm on one joint with Skirmish, and we got Big Zoo as well.
Big Zoo, my brother from Gods of the Basement, and also E.O. Duck. He's also on the project. I have my brother who's a vocalist doing some background vocals.
Yeah, that's right.
Sinclair Johnson is on the record. And then it's really just me going in over these managed beats. And,
I won't say too much, but there is another project that is pretty much finished, which is featuring
featured heavy.
A lot of collabs with Pro linking up with a lot of guys from the UK. Not gonna say too much about that, but yeah, that's coming soon, man. Yeah, there's a lot of tracks in the bank already on that one. So yeah, we've been working on that and just reaching out to heads out here and keeping the collaboration, keeping the creations going.
So Manage, like I said, I've known you for years, and first and foremost, I knew you as an MC, and you've evolved from that situation to being a producer. How are you finding the change?
Yeah, nice, man. To be honest, like I was always interested in production. I never had no equipment or never really knew how to use it, you know. So I enjoy it, man. Like I'm not really, I don't really like feel like I want to be out performing, being on stages and things like that. I feel like it's not really me, you know. I always found like I was at home, like in the studio, like actually in the creation zone of making music, and it's something that always interested me massively. And yeah, I feel real nice there, man. Like I still like to rap though, you know, so I'm still write a verse here and there. Like the way I say to people now is just like I'm a producer and occasional rapper, you know, and I'm fine with that, man. I'm more than happy being there, man, you know.
So when you first started, did you kind of not know that you didn't want to be on stages?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all had that kind of young artist dream where you're like, you want to be on the big stage, you want to be a big rapper and doing all this. And to be honest, I've been on some real big stages, man, and I'm real proud of that. But like things change, and I'm no longer that. The dreams that I had as a younger man is not really the dreams that I hold now, you know. And I just don't really feel like that's me, you know. And people holler at me to do shows and stuff, and I'll be honest, I'm just not really on it, man. You know, I'm just not my vibe. You know, I'm just fully on these beats. You know.
Yeah. So be honest with me, right? Is there a specific goal that you're trying to achieve with this album, or you just want to make the dopest album that you can, and that's enough for you?
Well, for me, yeah, first and foremost, I wanted to make the dopest album we could. A goal I would just really like it to be heard and appreciated, you know, and if the funds that come back in from any sales can cover what was invested as a starter is great. And any more than that, that may help us with our lives and help us in do more, then yeah, that's cool. But first and foremost, just to create dope music as always, man.
So you've got the video coming. When is the video coming that you shot today? When do you think it'll be
So
ready?
the way that we've been shooting the videos and the visuals for it, it's going to be almost like a microfilm. There's going to be a narrative involved. It's going to span both the different projects that we talked about. God and Man is the first half, and the second half will be the second project. And so, I think what Manage said is he crystallized the point where we just want to make the dopest art possible and have it heard and have people actually tap in and listen. And we're hoping that, you know, the visual will be another driver to showcase the artistry that we put into the thing, you know, and that'll just be another level added on top of something that's already got a dope foundation. Is that we put some visuals and some visual art together that feels authentic, that creates a generative, a general like narrative that people will be interested, and that it has replay value. Because you know you don't want to watch something or tap into something just once. You want to actually go back and hear it or watch it again, and make it so that it's something that's substantive for people over time. You know, I think that's the real goal for me is just to create good home cooked food that fills you up, that you want to come back for more.
So you're basically making the album you want to hear.
Yeah,
Definitely. I'm always trying to make the album that I want to hear.
yeah, exactly.
I'm always trying to make the music that I want to hear. It's never been anything like I said earlier, like the thoughts of where do we go from here and the business side. It's kind of always in the back end of my mind until the later end of the project. And then I start thinking about that. But for me, it's always just about creating a project that I want to hear. And to be honest, I always wanted to hear my beats with a good stateside MC, man, and someone from New York, because I love the sound, man. You know what I mean? So on my beats there, I think it's a real nice blend. You know, I think we're here good.
So do you think this is an opening for you now to expand on your relationship with people in the States to do more work now, Manage?
Oh yeah, I'd be more than open for it, man. Of course, man. Absolutely.
Any ambitious people that you want to work with?
Just some heads from the underground, man, that I feel, you know, that I listen to, and I mean, there's some names out there, but I don't really want to do that. I'm just like, you know me. I think anyone who knows my music will kind of have an understanding of the rappers I would like to work with, and I'm not really looking for the mass selling, hugely polished thing. You know, I like it underground. I like it gritty. I like it raw.
You know,
You
I'm
know.
so glad you say that, basically, because there are so many people that assume that when artists make music, that ultimately what they're trying to do is become famous, rich, and go for the glory and all that. And I don't think
Yeah,
people
I mean,
understand. That's not what some of us are about. You know what I mean?
no, I'm literally the opposite. I couldn't care less about that anymore, man. Like, I think there was a point of being a rapper when I was younger. Like, yeah, I want to be seen and heard, you know, and all that. But nowadays, man, like that's just real far from it, man.
Which label is the album going out on?
Prolific One, and
Okay.
that's literally the label. We're going direct from his website. And direct to the people there. You can stream from there and everything to direct. So, as to say, it's not really a label.
We are the label.
So does the name Lab 79 still exist?
Yeah, it does exist. It existed before we was putting out the music as you knew it. It existed from I built a sound, and that's been it from day. It started from when I moved into a flat that was number 79, and my boy who was with me, hanging around with me a lot of the time making music, was born in 79. I was born in 79. And he was like, oh, look, Lab 79. I was like, okay. And it stayed. And it's just about the sound, you know? It's not really been about a music label that's releasing music or trying to be this and that. Lab 79 is just like, you could say just my production house, if you like. You know what I mean? So that's always going to be there, you know? That's always a thing with me. You know, so Lab 79 is the sound.
Okay, excellent. Bro, do you guys have any final words? Do you want to say any more about the album? Is there anything that you missed out?
I would just really like people just to go listen, man, and holler with some feedback, man, and let us know what's good. You know?
Yeah, I think it's the same for me. You know, I want to say thank you for giving us the opportunity to even just call and get on the video chat with you and that. I always appreciate hearing the insights for somebody who's been in the game and who actually has something meaningful to say that's been through it. You know, a lot of times you get on with folks that post or they have a platform, but they're not really artists per se or haven't really been through the struggle in the same way. And so I really appreciate your ear, your insight. And then to the people out there, to Manager's point, go check out the music. All we really do this for is for people to tap in and to listen and to, you know, get a sense of who we are as human beings and what we're out here putting out musically. So check out the project. When the visuals come out, tap into that. And yeah, show love to one another.
I've got to big up our boy Snuff.
He's been over here
Oh,
just
Snuff
holding
there.
it down. Snuff here as well. He's
Yeah,
just chilling in the background.
Yeah, tell
Big
him I
up.
said, yo, get him on the camera for a
He can hear
second.
you, man.
Get him on the
He can
camera
hear
for
you.
a second.
Snuff, you need makeup? You good?
Yo, how you
We said-
doing, bro? I didn't
Yeah,
realize you
man.
were there. You good?
Yeah, I was having a nap in the background, bro. Good.
Yeah, cool, man. Yeah, no, good to see you there, bro. I know we said it for years, but you need to come in and do something as well, man. We have to get you in here.
Yeah, man. I'll come up with Manage sometime, bro.
Yeah.
All right, wicked. All right.
Or even if you're in London, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I keep getting your emails with the events, but I'm always busy, bro. So eventually you'll see me at one of them. You know what I mean?
Cool.
All right.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
My new night right now in Brixton, Adventures in Dub, first Thursday of every month.
Okay.
Yeah. I got a sound system, running stack. You'll feel the bass in your belly. You'd love it.
Okay, wicked. Excellent. Yeah, send me the details like you always do anyway. Eventually there will be a day when I'll be able to come down. It's just mad busy all the time. So I'm not gonna make excuses. I'll just say I'll turn up when I
No
come.
worries, man. Like life is a mystic, man. When it happen, it happen.
Yeah, there you go. All right,
Yeah,
bro.
man. You don't need to be on time, just be in time, you know?
Yeah, there you go. All right, bro. Good to see you. Yeah. So yeah,
There we go.
so guys,
Okay.
just one more time before we go. Let people know where they can get the album and what other merch is available. And basically, if you got any socials and stuff that you want to also push out there, let them know, please.
Yeah, so Garden Man is GODENMAN. Garden Man is available at prolificwone.art and it's prolific PROLIFICWONE because I'm the one and we won .art. And you could download that directly. We got some dope t-shirts, limited edition. Those have been created by the brother Sens, artists who gave us that artwork for the cover. And if you buy a t-shirt or you buy any merch on the website, you do get a free download of the project. So you're getting more bang for your buck. The pounds is going long. Support the bros and please just, you know, tap into independent art, support independent creators, support human art. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of not human art out there. And so this is all made by hand. These are goods, you know?
Go check it out, man.
Bang, bang.
And one final thing, you know, you just said human art. How would you differentiate yourself from not just the not human art, as in the AI art and whatever else is out there, but for all the other ones that are just not really artists, but they're getting more kind of attention than real artists? You know, that's always been the case. We've always had that in the game. You know, but and like I said, people need to understand some of us don't do it for that. Some of us do it just because this is what we enjoy. And we just want to be able to make a living, to be able to live the life of an artist, but we're not, let's say, looking for the Lamborghinis and the mansions.
Yeah, exactly. I think what I would say that makes a distinction between what we do and what you might get by AI generated app is that there's a soul present in every single track, and you're going to hear the soulfulness and the human experience in all of the music that we make. There's going to be storytelling. There's going to be authentic, genuine emotion, and it's not going to be a synthesizer sound with sound effects to just get you turned up for no reason. We're going to get you turned up, but it's going to be through soul experience and through life experience, through storytelling and through real human music and emotion, love, hate, and everything in between.
Wow.
He
There
said
you
it.
go.
He said it all in it. All right. Well, guys, thanks a lot for making it to the video so we can do this
Thank
interview. And again,
you. I'm glad we did that, bloke.
yeah, and I know it was kind of like short notice and everything, and it would have been great to have both of you in the studio, but hopefully you'll be back at some point and we could do that properly. But Manage, hopefully see you soon to do a solo interview as well, where we could delve a little bit more deeper into the life of Manage. You know what I mean? And yeah, aside from that, good luck with the project. For anybody out there, obviously you heard everything here. They got an album coming out, so go and check the album out. All the information is already given you. And yeah, do me a favor, people. Real art, spread the word. You know who your fans are, the genuine ones. When you see artists like this coming through and putting out the content that they're putting out from the bottom of their heart and not the depth of their pockets, then basically support them, because like there's not many of us left that will genuinely put everything into what we believe in. Like a lot of people chase things for the wrong reasons. Here are a couple of people that have always chased things for the right reasons. One I know personally for many years, and I've seen that from the ground level up. And the other one I've only just met for the first time. But to know that he was at the starting point of the end of the week is enough for me to know there's a reason why this guy is here. So yeah, just basically please find other artists like them. Go and support the real ones. Because if we don't support each other, then how can we expect anyone else to? Simple as.
That's good.
Right? And support yourself as well. If you're an artist, when you got a show, go and stand in the queue and buy a ticket to get into your own frigging show. That's the way forward.
Big up, Blade, man.
Thanks
Big
a
up
lot,
521.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care.
Nice one, my bro.
Peace.
Peace, man.